Picture, if you will, an invention so fundamental that it forever altered the course of human civilization. At first glance, a ship might appear as just a vessel floating on water, but in reality, it represents one of humanity's most transformative achievements. These wooden giants that once roamed our oceans were far more than mere transportation devices. They were the catalysts of global change, the architects of empires, and the bridges between worlds previously unknown to each other. Throughout history, ships have served as instruments of unprecedented power, enabling nations to project their influence across vast oceanic expanses. They were the tools of conquest that allowed small kingdoms to become mighty empires, the vessels of commerce that established the first truly global economy, and the vehicles of cultural exchange that forever transformed societies on every continent. These floating fortresses revolutionized warfare, trade, and exploration. From the Portuguese caravels that first rounded Africa to the Spanish galleons laden with New World treasures, from the swift Chinese junks that dominated Asian seas to the mighty British men of war that secured empire, each ship type wrote its own chapter in the grand narrative of human advancement. Consider how these wooden marvels redrew the maps of human knowledge. Before ships mastered the open oceans, each civilization existed in relative isolation, limited by geographical boundaries. But once humans conquered the seas, an entirely new world of possibilities emerged. Spices from the East Indies found their way to European tables, silver from the Americas transformed Asian economies, and ideas flowed freely across maritime routes, sparking innovations and cultural revolutions that would have been impossible without these seaborne connections. The story of ships is the story of human ambition, ingenuity, and courage. It's a tale of how seemingly simple combinations of wood, rope, and canvas became the driving force behind globalization centuries before the term was even conceived. These vessels didn't just transport goods and people, they transported dreams, ambitions, and the very future of human civilization across the world's vast oceans. In wood, sails, and human determination, ships were not merely vessels of navigation, but engines of historical transformation. These words echo through time, capturing the very essence of maritime innovation and human achievement. Throughout the ages, the combination of these simple elements, wooden planks hewn from ancient forests, canvas sails billowing with the winds of change, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream beyond the horizon, transformed our world in ways that continue to resonate today. When we look at these wooden giants that once ruled the seas, we see more than just vessels designed to cross vast oceans. Each ship represented a culmination of human knowledge, craftsmanship, and courage. The shipwrights who shaped their hulls were not just craftsmen. They were artists and engineers who understood that every curve, every joint, and every timber had to work in perfect harmony to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The true magic lay in how these vessels became catalysts for global transformation. They connected distant shores, bridged cultural divides, and rewrote the rules of commerce and power. In their wake, they left ripples that would grow into waves of change, reshaping societies, economies, and the very fabric of human civilization. From the spice-laden holds of merchant vessels to the gun-decked warships that projected power across oceans, each ship carried not just cargo and crew, but the seeds of revolutionary change. Consider how a simple wooden ship could carry within its hull the potential to transform entire continents. Portuguese caravels opened up new worlds, Spanish galleons created the first truly global economy, and British men of war established maritime supremacy that would last generations. These weren't just feats of engineering, they were the physical embodiments of human ambition and ingenuity. The legacy of these maritime achievements continues to influence our world today. The global trade routes they established still form the backbone of our modern economy. The cultural connections they forged continue to enrich our societies, and the spirit of innovation they embodied remains an inspiration for those who seek to push the boundaries of what's possible. If you're ready to embark on an extraordinary journey through time, to discover how these remarkable vessels changed the course of history forever, join us at Modern Age Chronicles. By subscribing to our channel, you'll unlock stories of maritime adventure, technological innovation, and human courage that shaped our modern world. Ring the bell, leave your like, and become part of this amazing voyage through the modern age. The adventure awaits, and the winds of history are calling. Will you answer? In the grand theatre of maritime history, the true heroes often remain unnamed in the pages of time. Let us journey into the lives of those who shaped the age of sail, whose hands and minds crafted the vessels that would change the world forever. The anonymous shipwrights were the unsung geniuses of their time. In the bustling shipyards of Venice, Portsmouth, and Lisbon, these master craftsmen revolutionized naval engineering through generations of accumulated knowledge. They discovered that a slight adjustment in hull design could mean the difference between a swift passage and a watery grave. Their innovations, born from countless trials and errors, led to breakthroughs like the rounded carrack hull and the sleek lines of the caravel. These craftsmen passed their secrets from father to son, from master to apprentice, creating an oral tradition of engineering excellence that would eventually transform naval architecture from an art into a science. Then there were the visionary captains, those remarkable individuals who dared to sail beyond the edges of known maps. Men like Bartolomeo Diaz, who first rounded the Cape of Good Hope, not just facing the terrifying storms, but also the psychological barrier of sailing into unknown waters. These captains were more than just sailors. They were scientists, diplomats, and leaders who had to maintain crew discipline while navigating uncharted waters. They developed new techniques for celestial navigation, created detailed charts, and established the first global trading routes. Perhaps most compelling are the stories of ordinary sailors who demonstrated extraordinary resilience. Consider the tale of the common seaman who survived months adrift after his ship was wrecked in the South Pacific, or the cabin boy who rose through the ranks to become a master navigator. These men faced scurvy, starvation, and the constant threat of death by drowning, yet they persevered, driven by a mixture of duty, adventure, and necessity. The tensions between maritime civilizations created a complex web of conflict and cooperation. Portuguese explorers clashed with Arab traders who had long dominated the Indian Ocean trade. The Spanish and English navies engaged in a century-long struggle for maritime supremacy. Yet alongside these conflicts, there emerged unprecedented cultural exchanges and technological sharing between different seafaring traditions. Survival at sea presented constant challenges that tested human ingenuity and determination. Crews faced the dilemma of rationing dwindling supplies during long voyages, making difficult decisions between pressing on toward their destination or turning back to safe harbor. They developed innovative methods to preserve food, collect rainwater, and prevent scurvy through trial and often tragic error. Perhaps the most poignant stories lie in the personal dramas that played out against the backdrop of imperial ambitions. Consider the captain torn between his duty to crown and company and his responsibility to his crew's safety, or the shipwright forced to compromise his craft to meet the demands of rapid naval expansion. These personal conflicts often reflected larger struggles between human limitations and imperial dreams of unlimited expansion. The stories of these maritime pioneers remind us that behind every great historical achievement stands a multitude of individuals whose combined efforts, sacrifices, and innovations made it possible. Their legacy lives on, not just in the grand narratives of empire and exploration, but in the countless small innovations and acts of courage that transformed maritime technology and human understanding of the world. These characters, both named and unnamed, remind us that the great age of sail was not just about ships and seas, but about the indomitable human spirit that drove ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. Their stories continue to inspire and teach us about the true nature of courage, innovation, and the eternal human drive to push beyond known horizons. Step aboard a historical sailing vessel, and your senses are immediately overwhelmed by a symphony of sensations that defined life at sea during the age of sail. The pungent aroma of tar, used to seal and protect the wooden hull, mingles with the ever-present smell of damp timber and salt-soaked rope. This distinctive scent, which permeated every fiber of a sailor's clothing, became so ingrained in their being that landlubbers could identify a seafarer by smell alone, even weeks after they'd made port. The soundscape of a sailing ship created an endless nautical orchestra. The constant creaking of rope against wooden masts, the rhythmic flapping of canvas sails caught in the wind, and the hollow thud of waves against the hull formed a continuous backdrop to shipboard life. In storms, these sounds would crescendo into a terrifying cacophony, with the wind howling through the rigging like a banshee's wail. During calmer moments, you might hear the soft pattering of bare feet on deck, the call of seabirds, or the haunting songs of sailors working at their daily tasks. Touch was another sense constantly engaged at sea. The hemp ropes used throughout the ship were coarse and thick, wearing calluses into sailors' hands until their skin became as tough as the material they handled. The canvas sails, rough and sturdy, were like sandpaper to the touch, yet they held the power to harness the wind and drive vessels across vast oceans. Every surface on board had its own texture: the smooth, worn wooden railings, the rough-hewn planks of the deck, and the cold, slick brass of navigation instruments. The taste of shipboard life was perhaps the most challenging aspect to endure. Food supplies, limited by preservation techniques of the era, quickly became unpalatable. Salt beef, often so hard it had to be soaked overnight to be edible, formed the main protein source. Ship's biscuits, dense and often infested with weevils, provided basic sustenance. The water, stored in wooden casks, would turn brackish and green with algae, forcing many sailors to prefer small beer or grog as their primary source of hydration. Life aboard ship operated within a rigid social hierarchy, as strict and unforgiving as the ocean itself. The captain's word was law, absolute and unquestionable. Below him, a complex chain of command governed every aspect of shipboard life, from the officers who maintained discipline to the common sailors who performed the backbreaking work of sailing the vessel. This hierarchy was physically reflected in the ship's layout. Officers lived in the stern with better quarters and food, while common sailors were cramped into the forecastle, sharing hammocks in shifts. Navigation relied on what we would now consider primitive but ingenious technologies. The magnetic compass provided basic direction, while the astrolabe and later the sextant allowed for celestial navigation when skies were clear. Dead reckoning, the art of estimating position based on speed, time, and direction, was often the only option during overcast days. These tools required immense skill and experience to use effectively, turning navigation into an art form passed down through generations. The clothing of sailors was purely functional, adapted through hard experience to meet the challenges of maritime life. Multiple layers of wool and canvas protected against the bitter cold and driving rain. Sailors often wore short trousers that could be easily rolled up for working in waterlogged conditions. Their broad-brimmed hats protected against both sun and rain, while neckerchiefs served multiple purposes, from sweatbands to emergency bandages. Even their distinctive pigtails had a practical purpose, keeping long hair tidy and out of the way during work aloft. This immersive world of the sailing ship represented a complete micro-society, isolated from land and dependent entirely upon itself for survival. Every aspect of life was shaped by the demands of the sea and the limitations of technology. The physical environment of the ship, harsh and unforgiving as it was, forged a unique maritime culture that would influence naval traditions for centuries to come. These sensory experiences and daily realities of life at sea weren't merely background details. They were fundamental aspects of maritime history that shaped the characters of sailors and influenced the course of naval development. Understanding these conditions helps us appreciate the extraordinary resilience required of those who chose, or were chosen, to live their lives upon the waves. The evolution of maritime power represents one of humanity's most compelling stories, a tale that spans millennia and reshapes our understanding of human achievement. Let us embark on this extraordinary journey through time, tracking the transformation from simple wooden rafts to mighty vessels that would ultimately reshape the world. Our story begins with humanity's first tentative steps onto the water. Early wooden vessels, crafted from hollowed-out logs and simple planked boats, represented mankind's first triumph over the natural barrier of water. These primitive crafts, developed independently across different civilizations, from the Nordic longships to Chinese sampans, laid the foundation for all future maritime innovations. Each culture contributed its unique solutions to the challenges of waterborne travel, creating a diverse tapestry of nautical innovation. The development of naval technologies marks our second chapter, where human ingenuity truly began to shine. The introduction of the stern-mounted rudder revolutionized ship handling. The innovation of multiple masts and complex sail plans allowed vessels to harness the wind more effectively. The caravel's design, with its revolutionary combination of square and lateen sails, emerged as a breakthrough that would change history. These technological advances weren't merely incremental improvements. They were quantum leaps that transformed what was possible at sea. As ships evolved into instruments of global power, we enter the most dramatic phase of our narrative. The Portuguese caravels that rounded Africa, the Spanish galleons that connected continents, and the mighty ships of the line that established European naval supremacy all played their parts in this grand drama. Nations rose and fell based on their maritime capabilities. The ability to project power across oceans became the defining characteristic of global empires, fundamentally altering the balance of world power. The technological and geopolitical transformation marks our final arc, where wooden ships gave way to iron and steel, sail power yielded to steam, and traditional naval warfare evolved into modern sea power. This transition period witnessed the birth of modern naval strategy, the development of professional navies, and the establishment of maritime laws that still govern our oceans today. But within this grand narrative lie surprising twists and revelations that changed the course of history. The impact of ships on the age of exploration produced unexpected consequences. When Portuguese navigators first reached the Indian Ocean, they discovered not an empty sea, but a sophisticated maritime trading network that had existed for centuries. This encounter forced European sailors to adapt and learn from Asian maritime traditions, leading to a fusion of naval technologies that would prove revolutionary. The changes in global trade systems brought about by maritime expansion created ripple effects that transformed societies worldwide. The establishment of new trade routes didn't just change what goods were available where, it fundamentally altered economic systems, social structures, and cultural interactions. The Manila galleon trade, for instance, created the first truly global economic system, connecting Spanish America with Asia and Europe in a complex web of commerce. Perhaps the most fascinating aspects of this story are the unintended consequences of maritime expansion. The exchange of crops between continents led to population booms and demographic shifts that would reshape the world's cultural landscape. Diseases traveled along with trade goods, devastating some populations while barely affecting others. Maritime technology transfer between civilizations had unforeseen effects, as when Japanese pirates adapted European naval innovations to challenge colonial powers in Asian waters. The introduction of new navigational techniques and technologies led to unexpected advances in mathematics, astronomy, and cartography. The need for accurate timekeeping to determine longitude at sea drove innovations in clockmaking that would eventually influence the Industrial Revolution. The requirements of maintaining large fleets led to advances in industrial organization and logistics that would transform how nations organized their economies. This complex narrative reveals how maritime history is far more than a simple chronology of technological advancement. It's a story of human ingenuity, cultural exchange, and unintended consequences that continues to influence our world today. The legacy of this maritime revolution can be seen in everything from modern global trade networks to international law, from naval warfare to environmental concerns about our oceans. In understanding this narrative, we gain insight into not just how ships changed the world, but how human ambition and innovation, combined with the unpredictable nature of historical change, created the global civilization we inhabit today. The story of maritime power remains relevant as nations continue to compete for control of sea lanes and maritime resources, demonstrating that mastery of the seas remains as crucial to global power today as it was centuries ago. The historical record of maritime power and naval innovation is preserved through a rich tapestry of artifacts, documents, and archaeological discoveries. These pieces of evidence provide invaluable insights into how ships transformed human civilization and connected distant worlds. Historical trade route maps stand as testament to humanity's growing understanding of global geography. The Cantino planisphere of 1502, for instance, represents one of the earliest surviving maps showing Portuguese discoveries, revealing closely guarded secrets of maritime routes around Africa to India. Medieval Portolan charts demonstrate the sophisticated understanding of Mediterranean navigation, with their intricate networks of rum lines guiding sailors across well-traveled seas. The maps of the Dutch East India Company, protected as state secrets during their time, detailed crucial information about winds, currents, and safe harbors throughout Asian waters. Navigators' journals offer intimate glimpses into the challenges and triumphs of historical seafaring. Christopher Columbus's detailed logbook not only chronicles his monumental voyages, but also provides insights into 15th century navigation techniques and the daily life aboard ships of exploration. The Journal of Antonio Pigafetta, who accompanied Magellan on the first circumnavigation of the globe, offers vivid descriptions of newly discovered lands, peoples, and maritime challenges. Captain James Cook's meticulous journals combine scientific observation with practical seamanship, documenting everything from astronomical measurements to detailed coastal surveys. Technical drawings of historical vessels reveal the evolution of shipbuilding technology. The Anthony Roll of 1546 provides detailed inventories and illustrations of Henry VIII's navy, offering unprecedented insight into Tudor naval architecture. Spanish shipbuilding treatises of the 16th century, such as Diego García de Palacios' Instrucción Náutica, contain precise specifications for constructing vessels capable of crossing oceans. The detailed plans of 17th century Dutch ships demonstrate how commercial considerations drove innovation in cargo capacity and crew efficiency. Underwater archaeological records have revolutionized our understanding of historical maritime technology and trade. The discovery of the Mary Rose, Henry VIII's flagship, provided unprecedented insight into Tudor naval warfare and shipboard life. The Vasa, recovered from Stockholm harbour, represents the most complete 17th century warship ever found, offering detailed evidence of Swedish naval architecture. Numerous shipwrecks along historical trade routes have revealed cargo patterns that substantiate and sometimes challenge written records of commerce. Beyond individual artifacts, maritime archaeology has uncovered entire underwater landscapes of trade and warfare. The remains of ancient harbours at Alexandria and Caesarea demonstrate sophisticated Roman maritime engineering. Shipwreck clusters along the spice routes provide physical evidence of trading patterns described in historical documents. The discovery of Portuguese shipwrecks along the African coast has helped reconstruct the technological evolution of vessels during the Age of Discovery. Ships' logs and manifests offer detailed information about cargo, crews, and maritime commerce. Custom house records from ports like Seville, Amsterdam, and London reveal the volume and variety of goods that moved across oceans. Crew muster rolls and pay records provide insights into the social organization of maritime enterprises. Insurance documents from institutions like Lloyd's of London detail the risks and rewards of maritime commerce. Medical records and ship surgeon logs document the human cost of maritime expansion. These accounts detail the ravages of scurvy, the impact of tropical diseases, and the development of maritime medicine. Provisions lists and victualling records reveal how ships sustained their crews during long voyages, while discipline records and court-martials provide glimpses into the social world aboard ship. This rich documentary heritage continues to yield new insights as scholars apply modern analytical techniques. Dendrochronology of shipwreck timbers reveals precise dating and source locations for shipbuilding materials. Chemical analysis of cargo remains provides evidence of trading patterns and manufacturing techniques. Advanced imaging technologies allow examination of deteriorated documents and faded maps, revealing previously illegible information about historical maritime activities. Together, these diverse sources of evidence form a comprehensive record of humanity's maritime achievements. They tell not just the story of technological advancement, but of human courage, ingenuity, and the persistent drive to connect distant shores through mastery of the seas. This documentation continues to inform our understanding of how ships and sailors transformed our world, leaving a legacy that shapes global civilization to this day. The impact of maritime advancement on human civilization represents one of history's most profound transformations, fundamentally altering the economic, cultural, and political landscape of our world. This analysis examines the far-reaching consequences that rippled across societies as ships connected previously isolated regions of the globe. Global trade expansion through maritime innovation fundamentally restructured the world economy. The establishment of oceanic trade routes created the first truly global market system, where goods, services, and commodities could be exchanged across vast distances. The Portuguese discovery of the sea route to India revolutionized the spice trade, breaking the traditional Arab and Venetian monopolies. Spanish galleons established the Manila trade, creating a triangle of commerce between Asia, the Americas, and Europe that moved unprecedented quantities of silver, spices, textiles, and manufactured goods. This new global trading system had profound economic consequences. The influx of American silver into China through Manila transformed Asian economies. European trading companies, particularly the Dutch and British East India companies, became the world's first multinational corporations, pioneering modern business practices. The need to finance maritime ventures led to innovations in banking and insurance, laying the groundwork for modern financial systems. Port cities like Amsterdam, London, and Lisbon became global financial centers, their wealth built on maritime commerce. The cultural exchange facilitated by maritime connections permanently altered human societies worldwide. The Columbian exchange brought new foods that transformed diets and agricultural practices globally. Potatoes from the Americas revolutionized European agriculture, while American corn became a staple crop in Africa and Asia. Coffee from Arabia became Europe's preferred stimulant, while tea from China transformed British social customs. These dietary changes had profound effects on population growth, urbanization, and social structures. Beyond food, maritime trade facilitated unprecedented intellectual and artistic exchange. Chinese porcelain influenced European ceramics, Japanese prints inspired European artists, and Indian textiles revolutionized fashion and manufacturing techniques. Religious ideas, philosophical concepts, and scientific knowledge traveled along maritime routes, creating new syntheses of thought and belief. The spread of printing technology via maritime routes accelerated the exchange of ideas and information. The geopolitical impact of maritime power reshaped political boundaries and power relationships. Small maritime nations like Portugal and the Netherlands could project power far beyond their size through control of strategic sea routes and trading posts. The British Empire, built on maritime supremacy, became global in scope, fundamentally altering political relationships across continents. The concept of mare liberum, free seas, developed by Dutch jurist Hugo Grotius, laid the foundation for modern international maritime law. Maritime power became crucial in determining national strength and influence. Nations invested heavily in naval capabilities, leading to technological innovations that spilled over into civilian sectors. The need for accurate navigation drove advances in mathematics and astronomy. Shipbuilding innovations influenced industrial development, while the logistics of maintaining global fleets led to advances in organizational management. The environmental impact of maritime expansion was equally profound. The introduction of new species through ship ballast and cargo fundamentally altered ecosystems worldwide. Shipbuilding demands led to significant deforestation in many regions, particularly in Europe, where naval timber requirements stripped entire forests. Whaling fleets decimated whale populations, while the establishment of colonial plantations transformed landscapes across continents. Disease transmission via maritime routes had devastating consequences for many populations. The introduction of European diseases to the Americas led to demographic collapse among indigenous peoples, while Asian diseases affected European populations. These demographic changes had lasting effects on social structures, labor systems, and patterns of colonial settlement. The development of maritime insurance and risk management transformed business practices. The need to protect maritime investments led to sophisticated financial instruments and legal frameworks that would later be applied to other economic sectors. The concept of shared risk and limited liability, crucial to modern capitalism, emerged largely from maritime trading ventures. The legacy of these maritime-driven transformations continues to influence our world today. Modern global supply chains follow routes established centuries ago by sailing ships. International law still grapples with concepts of maritime sovereignty developed during the age of sail. Port cities remain crucial nodes in the global economy, their importance enhanced rather than diminished by technological advancement. Understanding these impacts helps explain how maritime innovation shaped our modern world. The connections established by wooden ships centuries ago created patterns of trade, cultural exchange, and political interaction that continue to influence international relations, economic systems, and cultural development. As nations today compete for maritime resources and control of sea lanes, the lessons of how ships transformed the world remain relevant for understanding contemporary global dynamics. This historical transformation offers valuable insights for contemporary challenges, demonstrating how technological innovation in one sector can have far-reaching consequences across society. As we face modern challenges of globalization, cultural exchange, and environmental impact, the maritime revolution provides a crucial historical perspective on how societies adapt to and are transformed by technological change. The advancement of maritime power represents a complex interweaving of scientific understanding, philosophical perspectives, and technological innovation that fundamentally shaped human civilization. This multifaceted development transformed not just how humans traveled the seas, but how they understood their world and their place within it. Scientific paradigms of navigation evolved through centuries of practical experience and theoretical advancement. Early Mediterranean sailors relied primarily on coastal navigation, using visible landmarks and depth soundings. The development of celestial navigation marked a revolutionary advance, allowing sailors to determine their position through astronomical observations. The development of the magnetic compass in China, later adopted and refined by European navigators, provided reliable directional guidance even in cloudy conditions. The mathematical foundations of navigation grew increasingly sophisticated. Arab astronomers contributed crucial developments in trigonometry and astronomical tables. Portuguese navigators developed new methods for calculating latitude using the sun's meridian altitude. The challenge of determining longitude drove innovations in chronometry, culminating in John Harrison's marine chronometer. These advances required sailors to become skilled practitioners of mathematical astronomy, transforming navigation from an art based on experience to a science based on calculation. The philosophy of discovery emerged as a distinct intellectual framework that shaped how societies approached maritime exploration. The Renaissance ideal of expanding human knowledge combined with religious missionary zeal to create a powerful imperative for exploration. Portuguese Prince Henry the Navigator exemplified this new approach, establishing a research center at Sagres, where knowledge from multiple cultures was collected and analyzed to advance maritime capabilities. This philosophical framework encompassed both practical and metaphysical considerations. The concept of terra incognita, unknown lands, challenged medieval worldviews and sparked debates about the nature of knowledge and discovery. The encounter with new peoples and cultures forced European philosophers to reconsider fundamental questions about human nature and civilization. These philosophical challenges led to new ways of thinking about humanity's relationship with the natural world and other cultures. Shipbuilding technology represented a crucial intersection of theoretical knowledge and practical craft. The development of skeleton-first construction techniques in the Mediterranean revolutionized shipbuilding, allowing for larger and more seaworthy vessels. The evolution of sail plans, from simple square sails to complex combinations of square and lateen rigs, demonstrated the sophisticated understanding of aerodynamics developed through practical experience. The introduction of new tools and techniques transformed shipbuilding from a craft into an engineering discipline. The development of standardized measurements and construction plans allowed for more consistent vessel production. Innovations in wood preservation, copper sheathing, and rigging materials extended vessel lifespans and improved performance. The integration of multiple cultural traditions, European, Arab, and Asian, created new solutions to maritime challenges. Knowledge systems and cartography underwent revolutionary development. The creation of accurate nautical charts required sophisticated understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and geography. Portuguese cartographers developed the first systematic mapping of ocean winds and currents. The establishment of navigational schools and the standardization of nautical education created new systems for preserving and transmitting maritime knowledge. Cartographic innovations reflected changing understanding of the world. The development of the Mercator projection solved crucial navigational challenges while creating new ways of visualizing global space. The systematic collection and organization of geographical knowledge led to the creation of pilot books and sailing directions that standardized maritime knowledge. These developments laid the groundwork for modern scientific cartography. Maritime medicine evolved to address the unique challenges of long-distance voyages. The understanding of scurvy's cause and prevention marked a crucial advance in nautical medicine. Surgeons aboard ships developed new techniques for treating injuries and maintaining crew health in isolated conditions. The need to preserve food and water on long voyages led to innovations in storage and preservation techniques. Survival at sea required complex systems of knowledge that went beyond pure seamanship. Understanding weather patterns, ocean currents, and seasonal variations became crucial for successful voyages. The development of signal systems and maritime communication protocols enabled coordinated fleet operations. Techniques for maintaining discipline and crew morale on long voyages evolved through hard experience. These various strands of knowledge and innovation were not developed in isolation, but formed an interconnected system of maritime capability. The success of ocean voyages required the integration of multiple forms of knowledge: astronomical navigation, weather prediction, ship handling, and human management. This integration created new forms of expertise and new ways of organizing and transmitting knowledge. The legacy of this civilizational context continues to influence modern maritime activities. Many navigational principles developed during the Age of Sail remain relevant in the era of GPS and satellite communication. The organizational systems developed for managing ships and fleets inform modern maritime operations. Understanding this historical context provides crucial insights into how societies develop and integrate complex systems of knowledge and technology. This rich civilizational context demonstrates how maritime advancement required and drove progress across multiple fields of human knowledge and capability. The challenges of ocean navigation and long-distance voyaging created new forms of knowledge and expertise that transformed how humans understood and organized their world, leaving a lasting legacy that continues to influence modern civilization. The enduring mysteries and hidden connections of maritime history continue to captivate our imagination and invite deeper exploration. Let's delve into some of the most intriguing aspects that keep historians and enthusiasts searching for answers. The Mary Celeste remains one of the most perplexing maritime mysteries. Found abandoned in 1872 with cargo intact and valuable items untouched, the fate of her crew continues to baffle investigators. The ship's log entries ended abruptly, and the last notation showed nothing unusual. Why would an experienced crew abandon a seaworthy vessel? The disappearance of HMS Terror and HMS Erebus during Franklin's Arctic expedition went unsolved for over 150 years. Though the wrecks were finally discovered in 2014 and 2016, questions persist about how an expertly equipped expedition could have ended so tragically. Why did the crews abandon their technologically advanced ships to march across the ice? The Flor de la Mar, a Portuguese carrack that sank off Sumatra in 1511, reportedly carried one of the largest treasure hoards ever lost at sea. Despite numerous attempts, the wreck remains undiscovered, leading to speculation about its true location and the accuracy of historical records regarding its cargo. Evidence suggests the existence of pre-Columbian trans-Pacific contact between Asian and American civilizations. Sweet potatoes, native to South America, appeared in Polynesia long before European exploration. Did ancient maritime traders establish regular routes across the Pacific? The possibility of Viking expeditions reaching North America before Leif Erikson has gained credibility with recent archaeological discoveries. Could there have been established Norse trading routes along the North American coast that remained hidden from historical records? Chinese Admiral Zheng He's massive treasure fleet supposedly reached Africa's eastern coast, but some historians argue the fleets may have ventured much further. Could Chinese navigators have circumnavigated Africa or reached the Americas before European explorers? Maritime navigation drove astronomical research in unexpected ways. The need for accurate celestial navigation led to the development of precise astronomical tables and mathematical models, advancing scientific understanding far beyond maritime applications. The challenge of preventing scurvy on long voyages led to breakthroughs in understanding vitamin C and human nutrition. This maritime medical problem ultimately transformed our knowledge of human dietary requirements and biochemistry. Ship design innovations influenced architectural development in surprising ways. Techniques developed for creating watertight hulls later influenced building construction, while rigging systems inspired early suspension bridge designs. The need for standardized time to calculate longitude led to the development of precise chronometers, which ultimately transformed industrial production and modern urban life through accurate time coordination. Maritime trading patterns established centuries ago continue to influence modern global commerce. Many of today's major shipping routes follow paths established by sailing ships, demonstrating the lasting impact of historical maritime innovation. Naval communication systems developed during the Age of Sail formed the basis for modern international signal codes and protocols. Maritime flag signals evolved into a universal system that influenced the development of modern communication methods. The organizational structures developed for managing ships and fleets became models for modern corporate organization. Concepts like chain of command and division of labor, refined through maritime experience, shaped modern management theory. Ready to uncover the hidden depths of maritime history? Join us at Modern Age Chronicles, where we explore the untold stories that shaped our world. Subscribe now to unlock centuries of maritime mysteries, groundbreaking discoveries, and fascinating connections that history books only hint at. Each week, we delve into new aspects of maritime history, from unsolved shipwreck mysteries to revolutionary technological breakthroughs. Our expert historians and researchers bring you meticulously researched content that challenges conventional understanding and reveals surprising connections between past and present. Don't miss our upcoming episodes, featuring new archaeological discoveries, restored historical documents, and revolutionary theories about ancient maritime capabilities. Subscribe to Modern Age Chronicles and ring the notification bell to ensure you're part of this extraordinary journey through time. Join our growing community of history enthusiasts and help us unravel the mysteries that continue to shape our understanding of maritime history. The adventure awaits. Dive in with us.